have lunch. First thing was like any
No,
point
it's
platform.
disappeared. It's
Uh,
disappeared. Can you?
okay,
I
so
only
should I
hear
share
you.
it again?
Yes, yes, please.
Yes, yes. Okay, okay. Stop sharing. Sharing again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember where I kept my specs. Okay. Hmm. So on day three, are you able to see my notepad?
Yes.
Okay,
Not
perfect.
like yes.
So we have seen any point platform, like what is any point platform, the use of any point platform, and why this API uh, platform is called Lean. Why is it
Okay.
called Lean?
So, as we mentioned last time, the independent platform we are implement from designing, implementing, also building all life cycle. So, and
Yes.
it's reusable for it's easy to fix. For
Mm-hmm.
example, when like in the before we are publishing, when we are like
Mm-hmm.
designing part, when we get something from the client, we can
Mm-hmm.
if sometimes client give feedback and we can come back and uh, we can fix, which is so you mentioned like
Yes.
three parts. We can update like it might be major or minor or patch. So based
Mm-hmm.
on these three, or that's why we call it lean, I think.
Yes. The main reason behind this API platform is called Lean because it can be used on any platform, like any operating system,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
Yes. Just give me a second. Sorry, I have some docs at my end. Yep. Okay. So why this is not any point platform? That's why I was even getting confused, like why any point platform can, how it can be lean. So it's runtime module. Runtime.
Okay, okay.
Runtime engine. Remember, I told you that we have this runtime engine which can be used on all the operating systems, right? It's like a Java, right? You can create a code and you can run it anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Similarly,
We
we
can
have
design one
runtime
place,
engine.
so we can design one place and we can deploy anywhere. That's what you mean.
Yes, yes, yes.
I remember. Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
And we discussed about the control plane and runtime plane. What all components come under control plane and what come under runtime plane. So what components of any one platform according to you come under control plane?
In the control plane, we are designing APIs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in runtime, we only deploying applications once we are creating these APIs. And
Okay.
also in the control, we can manage our APIs once we are designing.
Mm-hmm.
And for runtime, we are deploying API applications.
Yes. So from where you can control the deployment, from where you can control your code, designing and everything that will come under your control plane. Okay. As the name specify that you can control over the things. right? So your design center, your exchange, your access management,
Mm-hmm.
your runtime management. Exchange for now, don't count that. Okay, your access management, your runtime management, that all comes under your control plane. And in your runtime plane, runtime plane, that will be your cloud hub.
Mm-hmm.
Runtime plane is where you are deploying your code. So it can be cloud hub, your RTF, okay. In all those cloud hub and RTF, what you need? You need runtime engine. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
never ever get confused by runtime manager and runtime engine. Okay, runtime manager is for managing your deployments, where you are going to deploy the stuff from where. Okay, and runtime engine is where you are going to deploy your stuff. Okay, like for running a Java code, what you need? You need a compiler, right? So for running
Yes.
a Mule application, you need runtime engine for that. Okay, which helps you to
Mm-hmm.
run your Mule application. So it is the
Mm-hmm.
part of your runtime plane. Okay, it will be the part of your cloud hub. Okay, but runtime manager is from where you are managing your deployments. Okay, from where you can start, from where you can stop, or from where you can even deploy your applications. Okay,
Okay.
so this is
So,
regarding the.
question.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
in runtime plane, you say for runtime engine is what we are trying to run our application. So,
Hmm.
I thought like in Cloud Hub we have like runtime engine itself.
Yes, runtime engine is the place, or you can say the thing which is helping you out to run your program. Okay, it should be where your code is running, right? Where you are deploying your code. You are not
Yeah, even in the
managing
cloud.
your code from runtime engine,
Mm-hmm.
right? So let me explain you by the help of diagram. Uh,
Okay.
and okay, so you have runtime manager in your any point platform. Okay, and you are having this cloud hub. Okay, where you are going to deploy your application. So in cloud hub you have this oops, sorry, you have the runtime engine as well. Okay, so here this is any point platform. Okay, in any point platform you are having runtime manager, RM. Okay, from where you can see all your applications which are deployed. You can manage those applications, you can start those applications, you can stop those applications, you can manage alerts, add alerts and all, right, based on CPU utilization and everything. Okay, so this is where you are managing your application. Okay, from here, where you are deploying your application to the cloud hub. Let's say for now, you take the example of cloud hub. Okay, in RTF also we have runtime engines. In the cloud hub, you have deployed your application, but to run your application, what you need? Runtime engine.
Okay.
Okay, so it is there in your cloud hub. So this is runtime plane, and this is your control plane. Okay,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
so this is the difference. So here runtime plane and control plane. And then we learned about the Mule application. Mule application I have shown you in the studio. Okay. So in the studio, I have shown you that we will be having one source in the flow, and we will be having event processors. Okay.
Right.
We will that will be processing your event, Mule event. Okay. And what
Mm-hmm.
is Mule event? Mule event is your Mule message plus variables. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and what is mule
Payload.
message?
Mm-hmm.
Payload
Payload.
plus attributes. So what are
Yeah.
attributes now?
Attribute can be query parameter, header.
Mm-hmm. You can say metadata of the code, metadata of your payload.
Okay.
For example, your headers, your query params, your URI params, right? Everything will come under your attributes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So this is related to the Mule events that we studied that day. Okay. And other than that, Mule, while Mule, runtime engine is lean. That also we have seen different types of planes and what is any one platform. Let's see what next we have covered, which we haven't mentioned here. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
in the next class, I will be coming up with the exam. So I want you to cover all the points that we have studied, okay, till date, so that I will be
Mm-hmm.
giving you one MCQ exam that, like a last time one. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So let's go back and see this one. So module 2, we have covered this thing. This one is also covered. This is about the Anypoint platform only, unified and highly productive. Okay, and this is also we have covered that lean runtime. Why this is lean runtime? Because you can deploy it anywhere. Okay, design once and deploy anywhere. Okay, so this is the same thing, and control plane, runtime plane, and then we covered this new application that it will be having one source that can be the external event, and then in the mule event, in the application we will be having source and you will be having event processors. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and mule application can call another applications also. This external event will be the trigger that will be calling your mule application. It could be your schedulers, it could be your listener, okay, it could be anything.
Mm-hmm.
And this mule application is calling the external systems, and you are already aware of API led connectivity, right? So for connecting to any system we need system APIs, right? So what
Yes.
all
Right.
layers are there in the API led connectivity?
Experience, process, and system layer.
Mhm. Okay, and what is the difference between experience layer and process layer?
Experience is more of a UI interface, and process we are implementing business logic. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, so
Okay.
for mostly the experience is exposing the
Mm-hmm.
with interaction with the
Mm-hmm.
users. So the we are, but when you're using process, we are processing business logic, creating, and can consume
Mm-hmm.
by any different
Mm-hmm.
experience.
Okay. Okay. As you said, that experience layer is mainly for UI. No, it's not for UI. Okay. So let's say if in the endpoint, if your customers are having Node.js APIs, okay,
Mm-hmm.
Node.js or something, some language they are using, and they are calling our experience layer. Okay, so they can call us our experience layer. So whenever you are exposing any endpoint, you use experience layer for that. It's not just a UI thing. Okay, it's not related to the UI. It's related to whenever you are exposing the endpoints, basically. Okay, because whenever you expose the endpoints, there could be different types of securities, right? There could be different types of
Mm-hmm.
views. Let's say there are some users, some business users. Okay, business users, and there could be some admin. Okay, to the admin, you want to show each and every data. Okay, whatever you are receiving from the process layer. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but to the business user you just want to show 2 3 objects. Okay, so that will also handled by the experience layer, the security and everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so experience layer is not just for your UI, it doesn't depend on your UI, it is mainly when you are exposing your endpoints. Okay, and for whom you are exposing your endpoints, that matters. Okay, so that's why I think most people have just seen one example of experience layer, that we are having one experience API for mobile application, one experience API for web application, right? You must have seen
Mhm.
that thing. That's
Yes,
why
yes.
everyone just compare it, that the UI with the UI. But it is not just with the UI. It is when you are exposing the endpoints. Okay, because let's say there are some cases where you don't even need experience layer. Because let's say there are two companies. Okay, one A company. Okay, and there is one B company. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to just send the data from A company to the B company every day in the night at 9 p.m. So
Mm-hmm.
what you can use, you can have a scheduler,
Mm-hmm.
right? That
Yes,
will
yes.
run at 9 p.m. every day, right? So in
Mm-hmm.
that case, you are not exposing any endpoint, right? You are just having a scheduler. In that case, you
Mm-hmm.
don't even need your experience layer. You can just work with the process layer and system layer. System layer to get the system data, okay, and process layer to have the logic and to have the scheduler,
Okay.
correct?
Okay. Yes.
But let's say customer will ask you that I want some endpoints to handle the error. Let's say there will be some error in between while sending the data from A to B. Okay, let's say we
Mm-hmm.
are sending the orders from A to B every day in 9 p.m. Let's say two orders got failed. Okay, and customer asks that they need one endpoint, okay, by which they can send these two orders also again by changing some data. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
at that time you need to expose some endpoint, right? In that case you need experience layer because you are exposing something. Okay,
Okay.
correct. So in that case, you need experience layer where you will be having some security, where you will be having rate limiting and everything. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that will be the work of your experience layer. It's not just related to the UI.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So in case I have, can you back?
Yeah, yeah. Nice.
So you say we are using experience exposing this time. So uh, I'm assuming it looks like the still the experience using the user. You know, we are
Mm-hmm.
exposing the user. It looks like that. So, but when
Mm-hmm.
you, for example, mention uh, without experience, you may process to system by using scheduler. But when we are trying to exposing this API, we are
Mm-hmm.
using uh,
Mm-hmm.
experience to for the
Yes.
user. That's why I'm it's confusing. It looks like we are exposing for the user. Like every time,
Mm-hmm.
only user is using experience layer part. So
Mm-hmm.
because we are putting some policies for
Mm-hmm.
everything, so
Yes.
still the user can't see experience. We are exposing for the user, I think.
Uh, yes, you are right that whenever we expose anything for end user so that they can come and they can hit the API and they can get the stuff whatever they want to do, right? At that case, we need experience layer. But UI, the term UI that you used, it goes with GUI, graphical user interface. We are not providing any graphical user interface, and it is not dependent on the graphical user interface. Let's say, whatever examples we have seen like mobile application and web APIs, everyone says that it is for the GUI. It is not for the GUI. It's just for the whenever you are just exposing the endpoint for any user. It doesn't matter the web user or mobile user. It will dependent on the use case only. Whatever requirements we are getting from the customer, based on that we will be creating the experience layer. But in experience layer we will be exposing some endpoints so that end user will come, either they can hit the API from your postman or from any client. Okay, either
Mhm.
they can hit a API from their own system. Okay.
Okay. So still we are exposing for the user. So
Yes, yes,
okay, okay, clear.
yes.
Not, I'm not telling about UI, just exposing for the user. So we are not exposing the process in the system for the user, only experience layer.
Yes, yes, yes. So in the process and in the system, these are not exposed to the outer world. Okay, these are only stays with the customer. Okay, let's say if you are having any endpoints in the system layer because you want your process layer to connect with the system layer, for that you have to expose the endpoint, right? But that endpoints cannot be used by the user. You should not share that endpoint with the user directly. User should
Okay,
always come from the experience layer. Okay,
okay, okay.
because to the outer world only we share the endpoints with the experience layer. We don't share the endpoints from process layer. We don't share the endpoints from system layer. Okay,
Got
but
it,
in
got
case let's say if, everything based on the customer. Okay, because these are the approaches or these are the let's say methodologies that we have, right? It is not compulsory that you have to go through that thing. Okay, so
it.
these are just provided, these are like a agile thing that we have given with the steps, that these steps we can follow, but these are not compulsory. Like let's say if the customer is having budget issues, okay, then he said that you can add the scheduler in the process layer, and in the process layer only please give me the endpoints, although also 2 3 endpoints I want that for error handling. Don't create a experience layer for that. Okay, that case is
Okay.
also valid. Okay, because this is related to the customer's requirement. Let's say customer is having budget issues, so how they can give the cost of 0.1 week or more for experience layer, right? So in that case we can expose the endpoint in the process layer also, but based on the methodologies or based on the rules that are defined to us, that says that you should always expose the endpoints through the experience layer only. Okay.
Okay. I have one additional question.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yes.
Yeah, you mentioned the question coming in my mind. So, do you know like sync? What sync experience? Something sync?
Sync.
Yeah, sync experience. I heard about the sync.
Sync means uh, S Y N C.
What
This sync.
sync process or experience? So, when you are using scheduler for example, queue. When we are using queue, we are using
Mm-hmm.
sync.
Okay.
So how you
Okay. Okay. So when you are using queues, that is asynchronous. Okay. These two are different terms. Sync and async. Okay. Sync means you wait for the response. Okay. Let's say we have request connectors, right? Request connectors we use to hit the APIs.
mm-hmm.
Request connector, it will go to some APIs or endpoint wherever you are hitting it, right? And it will get some response. Let's say it will tell you that it was 200, okay, and the data you got the payload as well, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So this is synchronous. When you are waiting for the response, that means you are sending some request and you are waiting for the response. And async is whenever your publish consume stuff comes. Publish consume. So here, what you do in the queues, you just publish the message. You don't wait for the response. You don't even care who is consuming from that queue. You just publish it. You don't wait for any response. That is called asynchronous. This is here where we are using queues. Okay?
Okay. So, but sync sometimes I saw somewhere like sync like for queue they are using sync experience API. They name it called
Mm-hmm.
or sync process API.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
So,
they usually name it as async and sync. Like sync is where you are having HTTP endpoints or where you are waiting for the response mainly. Async is where you are having queues, okay, where you are just having publish, consume, and all. So let's say if you are having one system experience API, okay, let me say that
mhm,
this is experience API and this is process layer and this is let's
mhm,
say system layer. Okay,
mhm,
so let's say you always go for registration, some registration process every time, right? Whenever you register for any let's say not having valid you have railway at your end, railways.
yeah.
mm,
Rail, is it
Railway,
rail?
no, no, train and all, yes. Okay,
Huh?
so every time we have one registration form, right? We got one registration form. You fill that form. Okay, okay. Let me give you example of bank. Okay, so in the
Okay.
bank, whenever you go for adding a new account, okay, you want a
Mhm.
new account. You go to the bank. You fill the form, right? You
Yes.
fill the form. They will give you one ID that this is the ID. By this, you can come again later after 2 days and check whether your bank account got created or not. Right?
Correct. Mhm.
This is async. Okay. That means you are not waiting for the response. You just pushed it. You just published it and you just came back. You got the ID. And after 2 days, you are going to check whether your application was like whether your request was fulfilled or not. Okay. Similarly,
Yeah.
here in the publish consume, what we have, let's say we have one publish here. Okay. A person came, it person is here, okay, and this is your experience layer, this is your process layer, and this is your system layer. Okay, so
Mhm.
here the person came, okay, he added this registration form and just clicked on published and he got the correlation ID, let's say. Okay,
Okay.
correlation ID, and he went back to his home. He don't care whether his request was fulfilled or not. Okay,
Mhm.
this published message will be consumed from the process layer.
Mhm.
Then the processing will be done. Processing will be done. Then this message will be like after doing this processing, that is called your let's say some data logic and all. Then your request will go here. In case you need something from the database, it will first check whether your account was already there or not. Right, in the bank, it was already there or not. For that, it will go to the system and check in the database. Okay, and then it
Okay.
says no, no, account is not there. For creating the account, it will again come to the system layer, and then let's say the account got created, it will give back the response that account got created. Okay, next time
Okay.
here with the publish, we are having one endpoint also. Okay,
Mhm.
what it will do,
Okay.
it will now uh, the customer will come after 2 days. Okay, it will he
Mhm.
will hit this endpoint with the correlation ID to get the status of his account. Okay, it will go
Mhm.
to the
Mhm.
process layer again. In the process layer, he can see that in the object store the data was stored for that particular correlation ID. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
because by the first one where we were having publish consume, after doing the processing in the process layer, what it does, it just saved the data in the object store based on the ID. Now with the hitting by hitting the endpoint, customer gets to know, yes, his account got created, so the response he will get that account got created. So this is
Okay.
whole async process
Okay. Okay.
where customer is not waiting for the response, he just published it and went back. Okay,
Got it.
but in
Mhm.
case he is waiting, let's say for the second one where he was hitting the request with the correlation ID, right, and he was waiting
Mhm.
for the response. Okay, that is called sync API, this one.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so this is the
Mhm.
difference between sync and async. You must have seen that whenever you use batch processing, right? In the
Okay.
batch processing, you don't get any response, right? Whenever you hit
Okay.
from the postman, you don't get any response. Why? Because that is async. That works in async manner. It
Right.
doesn't give you any response, right? But whenever you use request connector or some other connector, transform message and all, you always get the response in the postman. Okay.
Correct.
So
Correct.
this is the difference between sync and async.
Okay. Okay.
So let me add that as a point for day 4. Day 4, module 2. Okay. Sync
Mm-hmm.
versus async APIs. Okay. So that you will also remember that we have already covered this point. Okay.
Okay.
So next thing was Mule Runtime. Mule Runtime provisioning options. This we will be covering later also, but I can give you a brief for this one. Okay. So in the paint only, I'm going to explain. I love paint.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
So we have Cloud Hub where we can deploy. Give me some examples where we can deploy our code.
So,
Mhm.
oh, you asking me a question?
Yes, 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 yes,
In the cloud hub,
yes. Where else you can deploy?
anywhere we can create our file and we can deploy anywhere. For example, the cloud hub. So,
You can deploy it to the Cloud Hub. You
oh,
can
if it's
deploy
on
it to the RTF.
RTF, okay.
You can deploy it to the VM or bare metal also. You can deploy it to private cloud,
Okay. Yes.
right? You can deploy it anywhere, okay? As you said. So Cloud Hub is who is managing the Cloud Hub?
It might maybe someone like maybe even the sales, the MuleSoft company or Salesforce company.
Yes,
Called,
yes.
yeah, someone who is controlling.
So yes. Okay. Control plane.
Mm-hmm.
You have any point platform.
Yeah.
So let's say the MuleSoft. For now, you can directly say MuleSoft is managing the control plane, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Let's say customer can also manage the control plane. They can also have their control plane.
Mm-hmm.
Customer. So let's see how we are connecting from control plane and runtime plane and what all deployment models are there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you are aware that there are two planes, control plane and runtime plane. Control plane is from where you are controlling your deployments. Runtime plane is from where you are actually deploying your code, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yes.
So you are having these options. Let's say control plane is being managed by the MuleSoft, okay, and you are having this Cloud Hub. This is also managed by the MuleSoft. So let's
Okay.
say we can have it like here. You can write mm, C is M and R is also M. Okay, first thing. Now what
What's
we can
that?
have. Yes. C is your control plane and R is your
Oh,
runtime
okay.
plane. Okay. And these are
Okay.
managed by your MuleSoft. Okay. For that,
Okay.
I wrote this MuleSoft. Okay. So, second part. So, next thing, what it can have this one. Control plane is managed by MuleSoft and runtime plane is, let's say, managed by customer.
Okay.
Okay, so here we can write that control plane is managed by MuleSoft and uh, runtime plane is managed by your customer.
Mm-hmm.
Let me write it fully, otherwise it will confuse you. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
So this is runtime. And here what I can do. Okay, so this we can do like control plane. Any one platform is there with the MuleSoft and runtime plane. That is we are deploying on the Cloud Hub only. Okay, then it will be both are managed by MuleSoft. Okay. Second thing, what we can have control plane is managed by MuleSoft. That is by any point platform. Okay, and runtime plane is managed by the customer. How they are managing it? Like where you are deploying your code. Let's say customer is having their own private cloud,
Mm-hmm.
then it could be your customer hosted runtime, right? Or customer is
Mm-hmm.
having some VM, that is virtual machines, right?
Okay.
Customer is
Okay.
having some bare metal. You're aware of this bare metal thing?
No, I only know VM. I don't know.
Okay, so VM is your virtual machine, okay, and
Mm-hmm.
bare metal is the actual PC, you can say. Okay, virtual machines is like in one server you are having some boxes, right? Virtual
Okay.
boxes where you are
Mm-hmm.
deploying your stuff, right? But bare metal is your actual PC, like you are your laptop where I'm going to deploy my code. Okay, that
Okay.
is called bare
Okay.
metal.
Okay. Okay.
So it could be bare metal or it could be your RTF as well, because your thing is like here it will be control plane is managed by the MuleSoft, that any one platform, but this RTF, that containerization system, is deployed on your machine, customer's machine, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that will come under your customer hosted runtime, right?
Mm-hmm.
What else it could have? On-prem also, it's like a VM only, VM or bare metal, right? On-prem,
Mm-hmm.
you can say. Still, these all comes under when your deployment, where you are deploying your code, is handled by your customer. Clear?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now let's see the third one. That is control plane is with Mule and runtime plane is with both Mule and customer. How it can happen? It can happen like half of your APIs you are deploying on the customer's private cloud and half of the APIs you are deploying on the cloud hub.
No.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This case
Yeah.
is called hybrid.
Okay. Okay.
Called hybrid. There you are having both your this MuleSoft also and the customer also in the runtime plane.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we got three cases, three deployment models are there. First one is
Mm-hmm.
everything is managed by MuleSoft. Second thing is half is managed by MuleSoft, that is control plane is managed by MuleSoft and runtime is plane is managed by customer. And the third one is where your control plane is managed by MuleSoft and your runtime plane is managed by both MuleSoft and your customer. Okay,
Okay.
and there was one more case which is now
Mm-hmm.
deprecated. Okay, control plane is managed by customer
Mm-hmm.
And runtime plane is also managed by customer.
Oh,
Okay. So this can also be one case. And this is not used now. Okay. And its example was PK, PCE something. Okay. Pivot cloud. That is pivot cloud edition.
mhm.
Pivot cloud edition. In the pivot cloud also that Kubernetes, your Docker stuff was there. Okay. But this is not being used now. So we got
Yeah.
four cases. One is everything with Mule. Second thing is half with Mule and half with your customer. And third thing is runtime plane is half Mule and half customer. Okay. And the last one is everything is with customer. Clear?
Mhm.
So these are the
Mhm.
deployment models you can say.
Okay.
Deployment models. Yeah. Any
Yeah.
question regarding this?
Uh, I have one question, but for this deployment module, so
Hmm.
except the fourth one, Mule give support. Yeah.
Hmm. Yes,
Anything.
Mule will give support for this one for whole your control plane or your runtime plane. Let's say in the control
Mhm.
plane, what you have your sorry, you have your management design center is there, RAML and everything, right? And your runtime manager. Let's say in case there is some issue in the runtime manager and all, okay, so that will be handled by that thing is will be handled by your MuleSoft. Logging part and everything will be handled by your MuleSoft. Okay.
Okay.
And your runtime plane, where you are deploying your code, you are deploying it to the Cloud Hub. That means that will
Mhm.
also be handled by the MuleSoft. Customer don't need to worry about the ports. Customer don't need to worry about the VPC and all. Okay. Because this will be already provided by the customer, by the Cloud Hub. Right. So
So,
this is the first case. Yep. Sorry.
so for example, in the Mule, our runtime is Mule, so
Mhm.
uh, so we are, you say mule is control, which means, for example, sometimes, a log file is full, something happened. So
Hmm.
how are we going to control like these kinds of issues happen? Uh,
Hmm. Yes. So whenever you need to see some logs and all, everything is there on your AnyPoint platform. You can directly see that, right? And in case your logs got purged, you can open one ticket to the MuleSoft to check for the logs,
mhm.
right? So
Yeah.
everything is under control of MuleSoft. Your control system also and your runtime system also, like where you are deploying your customer don't need to worry about like buying a cloud or buying a space, okay, where they
Okay.
can deploy your code. It will be handled by everything will be handled by the MuleSoft only, because customer is buying this whole control plane and runtime plane from the MuleSoft. That means they will be deploying everything on the cloud hub. Okay.
How about the V core everything? So like, how are we going to manage the V core? Like that's every time I have a question. So you mentioned like
Mhm.
MuleSoft by itself is controlling like the V core everything. So sometimes
Mhm.
you should have a budget to buy this kinds of stuff when you are agree with MuleSoft. So
Mhm.
the question is, so how are we going to manage for this, like this, how this vcore, the like how we are, when you are deploying, how many one API like the worker, how are you going to define this
Mhm.
kind?
Mhm.
Yeah. So in this case,
Okay.
so the support with customer budget, yeah, how we are like, but you say Mule is thinking for this kind of problem. So,
Okay. Okay. Yep. Yep. Let me give you one example. Let's
Mhm.
say, um, mm, So if you want to travel somewhere, okay, if you want to travel somewhere, what you can do, you can have your own car,
Mm-hmm.
or what you can have, you can go for
Right.
rent a taxi, right? You can opt for cab, you can go
Mm-hmm.
for public transport.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, three options you have.
Sorry.
Drink some water, man.
Yeah, I'm going to drink. I was
Public
eating food,
trans.
so that's.
Oh, okay, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Public transport or taxi, or you can say cab. And this one is your my own car. Okay. So similarly, here, if you are having this runtime with the MuleSoft, okay, that means you don't need to worry about anything. You don't need to manage anything. That means it will be like a public transport. That means the cloud hub. Okay.
Okay.
So in the public transport, you can travel, you can go, but you may face some security issues and you need to follow all the rules that are there in the public transport, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yeah.
Right? So that will be your everything is managed by the MuleSoft. But let's say you're if you are traveling by a bus, okay, and the tire of that bus got punctured,
Okay.
okay. So who will handle that? You don't. You need to manage that. No,
No. No.
you don't need to worry about that thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It
Yes.
will be handled by your bus driver only, right?
Uh-huh. Yes.
So this is the example for Cloud Hub also. In this, in case any services goes down, it will be handled by the MuleSoft only. Customer don't need to worry about managing the stuff. Let's say there is some because behind the scene you know that Cloud Hub is using AWS, right? So let's say
Yeah.
some upgrade is there, right? Some upgrade is there, some patching needs to be applied. So that will be handled by MuleSoft only. Customer don't need to check that there is any patching required, there is anything upgrade is required or not, services are down or not. Customer don't need to worry about that. That will be handled by the MuleSoft only. Okay. So
Okay.
this is like a public transport. In the public transport, this is your cloud hub. Next is your taxi or a cab. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it is also a public transport, right? But
Uh-huh.
here you get the privacy, right? You got the
Right.
privacy. You can travel alone, right? So this will come under your VPC. Okay. So in the Cloud Hub, let's say you are having a VPC. Okay. So it will be like your taxi or a cab. It will be a public transport, but you are traveling alone. You have the privacy. You have the security. Okay.
Correct.
Next is your own car. If your own car is like customer hosted can be anything, private cloud, customer is having one own private cloud, or you can say they're having VM machine, bare metal, RTF, on premise, anything. For example,
Mm-hmm.
for now, let's take the private cloud as example. Okay. So in the let's say customer is having a private cloud Azure where they want to deploy their all the APIs. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So first they need to go go to buy this Azure, right?
Mm-hmm.
In case there is any maintenance required, let's say some upgrade is there, some patch is there, customer needs to have a IT team, separate IT team to manage that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Okay. Yeah.
To add the security to this Azure private cloud, something is required. Let's say load balancing is required or some stuff is required that needs to be handled by the customer itself. Okay,
Okay.
that means whatever customization you want to do to your own car, you can do, but it will be
Mm-hmm.
expensive. Let's say you just want to travel for 4 kilometers. Why to buy your own car for that when you can go with a public transport, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
the customer is having the budget problem, they don't need that much security. They are fine with whatever the MuleSoft is providing. They can go with the Cloud Hub. If they want some bit of privacy, but they don't have that much budget, that they don't want to buy their uh, own system, own servers and all. Okay, they want to upload everything on the cloud, and they want that, but that should be bit secure. Okay, at that time they can buy for Cloud Hub with VPC, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
All
if
right.
they have their own cloud, they have their own on-premise machines, then they why they will go for Cloud Hub? Okay, they have it. They are already having it. Then they can go for this one. That is own car.
Mm-hmm.
Clear?
Okay. Okay. Clear. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So, so these are the deployment models. So there are four deployment models here. First one is your MuleSoft hosted everything, and second one is your combined one. Okay, and third one is your hybrid, and the fourth one is your uh, customer hosted everything, customer hosted. Okay, so I have seen that lot of people consider this as hybrid, because this one is handled by MuleSoft and this one is handled by customer. So they think that this is hybrid. No, this is not hybrid. Hybrid meaning is this one. Okay, where
Mm-hmm.
your MuleSoft, where your runtime plane is managed by both your MuleSoft and your customer. Okay,
Yeah.
that means you are deploying half of your APIs to the Cloud Hub and half of your APIs to the this one. Okay, sometimes you go by car, sometimes you go by public transport.
For the hybrid model, we are most of the time when we are not exposing sensitive information, we are using hybrid. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we have covered this thing. Provisioning options. What all options are here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mule event source we already covered in our last class. Okay, designing and developing the APIs, we have covered this thing, how we are going to design and everything. I have shown you. Okay, API led connectivity, we have discussed the steps, like first we write and publish the APIs in the design center, then by the design center we write and publish the version and everything. And for mocking, sharing and testing and reusing of APIs, we do for by the exchange, that is your market, right? And for testing the APIs, you can use the API portal or API console. API console was there in your design center. You saw that on the right hand side, right? And API portal was there when you were using your exchange. Okay, when you opened the API in the exchange, wherever you got the testing stuff, okay, that is called your API portal.
Okay.
Okay. And next thing is like advantages of publishing, advantages of developing with the published API. So as I told you, if you have already published something, okay, then your team can use that API, right? They don't need to test that again and again. They can rely on you that you have already tested that API,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
All right.
next one was we have discussed this also, that in the REST API specification, how we can do it by using the Open API specification. We can use RAML also, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have checked for the characteristics also, that it is readable. It will be having auto generate, scaffolding implementation is also there, right? In the Anypoint Studio, we have seen that scaffolding part, right?
Mm-hmm.
So creating and testing the web APIs. So this also we have covered, that this is the file browser, editor, shelf, and API console. By the shelf, you will see those hints like how to write the RAML. Right. In the editor, there is a script. You can see you are writing your RAML file. Okay. In the file browser, all the files will be there. All the dependencies will be there. API console, from where you can test your API. Okay. So next thing was visual editor. We have also covered this, like how to create the RAML files with this UI when you are not aware of writing the RAML files by your own. You can even switch to OAS, because you have both the tabs there. Either you can write it in RAML or either you can write a OAS. Okay, and walkthroughs also were all done. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah. Options for deploying the APIs, we have seen that the manual one, that is by copying the deployable archive directly to the Mule runtime. Okay. First, second one is by using the Mule Maven plugin. Maven plugin you are aware of?
So you mean like the dependencies? What we are using?
uh, Inside the from the studio, if you deploy your APIs, okay, behind the
Mm-hmm.
scenes it uses this Maven plugin only. Okay, but
Mm-hmm.
if you have to manually deploy using the Maven plugin, what you have to do, like we have some commands. Okay, we have some commands by which we can deploy the APIs. Okay, in my next class, I will be showing you the practical for this one as well. Okay,
Okay.
Maven plugin, like we will be creating one simple API and we will be trying it to deploy it uh, to the Cloud Hub by using Maven plugin. Okay, I will show you that thing.
Okay. Okay.
We have some commands for that. I want you to go through the commands in this week. Okay, like what is Maven compile, what is Maven deploy, what is Maven install, everything I want you to cover that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, but I will be showing you the practical.
Okay. Okay.
We are going bit slow, but I want you to understand the concepts, and I'm giving the examples to help you out to understand the concepts. Okay, so
Okay.
if you
Okay.
feel like we are going bit slow, you can tell me. I will like speed up my pace. Okay.
No, no, we are good. Yep.
Okay. So from any point studio also, you can just right click and you can click on that deploy to the Cloud Hub, right?
Right. Right. Yep.
The fourth option is Mule Agent. This is I'm not sure like why they have written it like this. Next one is your runtime manager UI. So whenever you export the API, okay, that jar file, okay, and that jar file you can import that on the runtime manager. You're aware of this process, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yep.
So this is mainly people use. This is the most used one. Okay. Next one is runtime manager REST APIs. So there are some APIs like say CLI is also there. Okay. So APIs, the runtime manager APIs also can be used to deploy your API to the Cloud Hub. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So deployment targets of the Mule application. So first one is your standalone Mule runtime that is used for your on-premise. Okay. Your bare
I
metal
have one
virtualized
question.
and
Sorry, before you come to here, the previous one.
mhm. Okay.
Yeah. Here you have option. So
Mhm.
we have like 4 or 5 options to deploy our
Yes.
application in the runtime. But so how are we going to use a third-party tool to deploy our application?
Sorry. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, we are using third-party tool, yeah, to deploy automatic deployment.
Which tool?
It might be Jenkins or Azure or something. So,
Azure.
but
Okay.
yeah, or Jenkins, for example. So we are using this third-party tool and we can deploy our application, yeah?
Okay. So that means you are using CI/CD pipeline, right? Continuous
Yeah.
integration and continuous deployment. Yes. For that, you are using Jenkins, right? For Jenkins
Mhm.
also, right? It works on a file. Okay, Jenkins, you add one file that is called what's that file called? So in that file also you write one script, and you can notice that if you're having already having a project, you can go through the project and you can see the file that they are using is having the Maven commands. That means it is using Mule Maven plugin only in behind the scenes. Okay.
Okay, okay. So we are using
So
Maven plugin or we
yes,
are using,
yes.
yes, yes. All right.
Yes. So if you are using Jenkins, if you are using some Bitbucket pipeline or some pipelines, then inside it you are definitely using Mule plugin, Mule Maven plugin. Okay.
Okay, okay, okay.
Uh, okay. Yep. So deployment targets for Mule applications. So here we have standalone Mule runtime that is for on-premise. Okay.
Mhm.
John, just give me a minute. I'm going to take water. Okay.
Okay, okay. Take.
Yeah. Hello.
Yes, yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm back. Okay, so first one is standalone Mule runtime. So I will be showing you the practical for this one also. Till then, what you can do, you can download this thing, standalone Mule runtime.
Okay.
Okay, see, you will get this page. Okay, in this page, go for second option. See here, Mule for standalone. Okay, open this one. Okay, you need to download this. So you can download this one. So any point studio, you can select for Mule standalone from here. Okay, you can select the latest version. You can provide your name. Okay, you can provide
Mhm.
your email address, and then you can provide your company name, your title, phone number, and agree, and then download it. Then you will get the email link on your one link on your email address. Okay, with that you can
Mhm.
download the this one, this standalone. Okay, so in the next
Mhm.
class, be ready with that. Okay, so this is your homework, you can say. Okay,
Okay,
so
okay.
I can provide you this uh, that. Okay, so be ready with that. I'm not going to do the practical today. I'm not going to show you this one today, so that we will be doing it parallelly. I will also do,
Okay,
and you will also do in the next
okay,
class.
okay, sure.
Standalone Mule runtime, we can do this one. Second one is your Cloud Hub, where you can deploy your APIs. Third one is your Anypoint Runtime Manager. Okay, Anypoint Runtime Manager is basically used for deploying the APIs. It's not from where you can deploy, where you are deploying. So it is from where you are deploying.
Okay.
Okay, and next one is your Runtime Fabric, that is RTF. Okay. RTF, I'm
Mhm.
not going to show you, but there will be lots of questions related to the RTF. I don't have the access for RTF. Okay, but I will
Mhm.
be helping you out to understand the architecture of RTF in our
Okay,
next modules. Okay,
okay.
so let's start. So the first one is consolidated overview of deployment models. This on-premise in on-premise everything. Okay, so this is like control plane and runtime plane. So whatever down diagram I created, this is the same thing. Okay, so it
Okay.
could be by your customer hosted, and it could be by your MuleSoft hosted. Okay, understand
Okay.
by this diagram that I created, so that it will be
Mhm.
helpful for you. Okay.
Okay.
This is the same stuff. Let's say they are downloading the runtime plane is where you are deploying your API. Okay. So let's say they are deploying the API on their on-premise. Okay. And on-premise, they could deploy it, like the control plane could be handled by your customer hosted, control plane could be handled by your MuleSoft hosted as well. Right. And let's say second one is multi-cloud or on-premise. That is the hybrid one, you know, right?
Okay.
So here also you can have your MuleSoft hosted control plane, and runtime plane is multi-cloud.
Okay.
The third one is your Cloud Hub. Okay, so Cloud Hub, all both are managed by your MuleSoft. This one is also managed by MuleSoft, and this one is also managed by MuleSoft.
Okay.
Okay. Next is API Manager. Okay, so what is API Manager according to you?
So API manager, we are implementing policies.
Mm-hmm.
For example, the policy is like it's including rate limiting how many API we are calling every second, every minute. So that's rate limiting. We can using username and password. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so we can generate all these kinds of policy. Tokenization. We can make like tokens, GWT.
Mm-hmm.
This all 4, 5 or more than that kinds of policy we are implementing in API Manager.
Okay. Yep. So let me remove this. You want this diagram? If you
Yeah,
want, you
already.
can capture this.
Yes, I did already. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah. So, so let's say you have deployed your API here. Okay, application, you can see, not API, application, this worker. Okay, you have deployed it here. Now, to this application, you want to manage this application, you want to manage this API by adding some rules and regulations, or just adding one layer in front of that. Okay,
Okay.
so that layer will be your API manager policies.
Mm-hmm.
There are two ways. First one is like this. This is the same on the same worker. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
or what you can have it on separate workers. Let's say it will be like one worker for your API manager stuff, and one worker is your API application.
Okay.
Okay, so customer will hit there here. Okay, and then it will be having some policies that will be executed, and if this passes, then it will go to your this one application.
Okay.
This one is called, here you are having this as a API proxy.
Okay.
That is, again, let's say is on 0.1 vcore. So let's say the customer is in this condition, the customer needs minimum 0.2 vcores, 0.1 for this one, 0.1 for this. Okay, so by proxy, what he can achieve, first thing is that everything is on another server. It will not use any memory of your worker, this one. These both are segregated. First thing. Second thing is that for this API, you can have multiple proxies as well. Let's say this is having endpoint A, this is having endpoint B, okay, and this is having endpoint P. By both, you can go to this one. Clear?
Mm-hmm.
And customer can come here. Okay, so this is the concept of API proxy. Okay, but if you are having everything on the same worker, okay, that means you are not using any point, API proxy, then you will be using this case, the first one. Okay, and these both will come under your Mule gateway. Mule gateway. Okay, either direct or either API proxy. Okay.
Mhm.
Next, you have studied about Flex Gateway also. You must have seen that. At least the option is there, right?
Okay.
The Flex Gateway is mainly used when you are having non-Mule APIs. Okay.
Mhm.
So these applications, these APIs were created by the MuleSoft only, like in the Mule only. Those were Mule APIs. You created that in the studio and just you deployed it to the Cloud Hub, or you deployed it somewhere, anywhere. It could be anywhere. Okay. So
Mhm.
these were Mule APIs. Let's say you have created one API that is a Spring API. You created that API in the Java Spring.
Uh-huh.
Or you, let's say you have one Node.js API
Mhm.
and you want to add your oh, okay, I wrote Node.js. Why it is not showing? Okay. Yep. Node.js API. Okay. So let's say you have these two APIs and you want to add the policies on these two APIs. So in that
Mhm.
case, you cannot use Mule Gateway. Okay. Because these are
Okay.
not Mule APIs. In that case, you can use Flex Gateway.
Okay.
Okay. So Flex Gateway is mainly for your non-Mule applications.
Okay.
Okay. And the third one is your service mesh. Service mesh is mainly for your RTF. Whenever you are having RTF and you want to apply the policies, then you can use service mesh.
Mhm.
Okay. Next thing, in the API manager, you can have policies for both type of APIs,
Mhm.
REST and SOAP.
Mhm.
Both are supported.
Mhm.
Because in designer, you must have seen that only REST APIs are supported, right? You can create
Yeah.
either RAML or either OAS. You cannot create WSDL. But here in the API manager, you can add the policies for both, for REST APIs also and for the SOAP APIs also. Clear?
Mhm. Yep. Clear.
Okay. So let's go and check this out. Practical part. Okay. John, how much total experience do you have?
For which one?
All over experience, like in IT.
MuleSoft, like almost 2.5, 3 years of, and I also
Mhm.
working 2 years in data power, like almost 5 plus years.
Okay. Okay. So almost you are having 6 years of experience, you can say, right? I can say.
Yeah, close to 5 or 6. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yep. So let's see in API manager what we have. In the API manager, I just opened this API manager where I can see the environment. Okay. So you can
Mhm.
add the policies or you can add those APIs for both. So for any environment. So for now, I am just having the sandbox. So it is just
Okay.
showing me the sandbox. Okay. So you can have other environments as well. Okay.
Okay.
Next thing is your API administration. API administration is the this page, the default page that you will get whenever you open this API manager. Okay. Here, what you can do, you can add a API, you can create new API, or you can import the API. Let's say someone has already created this API, they are exporting this API, and then you can import this API.
Mm-hmm.
Clear? So you
Yep.
can
Yep.
import the API from the zip file, and the first one is your adding a new API. So whenever you add the new API, you will get three options, as we already
Mm-hmm.
discussed. The first one is your Flex Gateway. Okay. The second one is your Mule Gateway, and the third one is your Service Mesh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we have already seen that it can be on the existing Mule application and it can be with the new proxy app.
Okay.
Right? Since we
Mm-hmm.
are having since we are just having this Mule applications, let's go with the Mule application for now. Okay, so it will ask you that you want to connect to the existing application. That means you will be working with on the same worker and everything will be same. You don't want extra server for that. Okay,
Okay.
you can go for this. Or if you want a proxy, that means another segregated application for the routing purpose and all, for as a front layer. Okay, then you can select this one.
Okay.
Okay, then you can define the Mule version, like on which Mule version you want this. Okay, Mule 3 or Mule 4. Mule
Mm-hmm.
4 is recommended because this is the latest one.
Current. Yeah.
So next one, when let's say you are not having any proxy. Okay, so you will be getting two options. The first one is select the API from the exchange. So whatever APIs that you have published, let's say you have created one API in the design center, you have published that API, you can select that API here. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Correct.
that REST API or RAML or your OAS. Or what you can do, you can create a new API as well. So as I exported, as I published two APIs, I can select these APIs. Say I want
Mm-hmm.
to select the annotation, this one. Okay.
Okay.
So I selected this API, and what is the asset type? This is RAML or OAS, right? Let's say the person was Visual, as I told you that SOAP APIs are also
Mm-hmm.
supported in your API manager, and HTTP APIs are also supported. Okay, so there is a difference between HTTP and RAML API. Oh, sorry, REST APIs. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so REST APIs can have HTTP and other protocols as well, but HTTP is always HTTP. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
then you have to define the API version. So here it is the latest version is version this one, and asset version, like let's say I am using this API and this is running on 1.0.3. Okay,
Okay.
so I selected this. So this is when you are selecting a API, already existing API. Let's say you want to create a new API. You don't want to apply any policy to the existing APIs. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
you can define the name, you can define the type of that API. Okay, and then just next. Okay. In the advanced part, what we have the group ID, we have the asset ID, we have the version ID. These are used basically whenever you are using the platform APIs. Any point platform is also a tool, right? So this is also
Mm-hmm.
having some APIs, right? So with that APIs, if you want to apply some policies, or with that APIs, if you want to handle the stuff at that time, you need these IDs.
I'm sorry, I have a question here.
Yes,
So
yes.
I didn't use this one before creating new API, only for we are selecting
Mhm.
from the exchange app and we are implementing
Mhm.
policy. Or here you said creating new APIs, we need group ID, asset ID, version. So
No, 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 no. It's not required. It's just the advanced part. It is not the
Ah,
required
okay.
ones. Okay. So in the
Okay.
future, let's say, and these are there on the both the cases. I think here also it should be there. I'm not that sure, but it should be there. No, no, it's not there. Okay. In that
Mm.
case, it was here, this one. Okay. So while adding some policies by yourself, okay,
Okay.
whenever you will be creating some policies by yourself from the APIs by using the anypoint platform APIs, then you need these things. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Automatically
Like
generated.
group
Yeah.
ID. Yes, yes, this is automatically generated. This is
Yeah.
generated by the exchange, generates the group ID, asset ID,
Mm-hmm.
and version. Okay. So whenever you will create this, I think this will be deployed to the exchange. I'm not that sure. We can check this out.
Okay.
Next thing is semantic versioning. Semantic versioning we have already covered, right?
Mm-hmm.
You remember that three parts? First one is your major, second one is your minor, and third one is your patch.
Yeah. 1.00.
Yes.
Yeah, by version. Yeah.
Semantic versioning. That is your major dot minor dot patch.
Yes.
These are the version. These should use the same version format. It says that, right? That is semantic versioning. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's choose this one for now. Next is your selected API is test that you can even check that out in the exchange. Okay. API instance label. As I told you, for the same API, okay, for the same API, you can have multiple instances. So whatever you
Mm-hmm.
have deployed, okay, to that you can add multiple layers. Okay, so it will be
Mm-hmm.
like from endpoint A and endpoint B, you are calling endpoint P from both the cases. Okay, but endpoint A is being used by another company, endpoint B is used by another company, both are having different kinds of policies. Clear?
Mm-hmm. Correct. Uh-huh.
So this is the instance name because API can be same, right? So you can say company one API, right? Next is your implementation URL. Implementation URL, like the URL of your application, deployed application. Okay. Next is your consumer endpoint. The endpoint that will be used by the user, end user, for connecting to this API. Okay, these are optional ones. You don't need these things. Okay.
Can you
Next thing
repeat
is
one more
client.
time before you jump off this? Sorry.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
for repeat for this point. Like I have this endpoint configuration. I
These
miss
two.
one word you said. Like no, no. Before that, like you say
Instance
something
one.
like I'm trying to connect. So you say configuring the endpoint. No, no.
Yes,
Go
yes.
to the
Okay.
actual.
Okay, okay. I'm going to explain this by diagram. Sorry.
Okay. Okay.
Yep, yep. So
I miss one.
this is the application for order creation. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the application for the order creation. Okay. Your customer wants that this application should be shared with two partners. Okay. Let's
Okay.
say if you are working for one customer whose name is Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that Johnson is now having some partners. Okay, so those partners are like first one is your mm, PVR,
Mm-hmm.
second one is Paytm something. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
with a PVR they want some different kinds of policies, and for Paytm they want some different kinds of policies.
The
Okay.
same API. Okay.
Yes, for the same API. So what they can
Okay.
use, they can have multiple instances, they can have multiple proxies for the same
Okay.
API.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So for the same API, they are having multiple proxies which are pointing to same API. This one. Okay. So
Okay.
this one is for PVR and this one is for Paytm. Okay.
Okay.
That's why we have this option that API instance label. So you can see here also it is written within the environments, you can set up multiple instances of an API. An API instance name is used to uniquely identify each instance.
Okay. Okay.
So let's say you implemented this for PVR API and next. So here this is one for the review part and then you
Mm-hmm.
can save it. So after saving this API, now these options, let's see what we have. The first one is alerts. So we can have some alerts. Uh, let's first see the policies because policies is important for now. Okay. So third one is policies. So in policies, what all policies are available? Let's see that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So these are all the policies, all the categories. So first one is auth 2.0. You know what
Okay.
is auth?
What?
Yes, auth 2.0. This
Tokenization?
one.
Yeah. We are creating
Yeah.
token. Mm-hmm.
Yes. This is for the security purpose. This is for the authorization. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
You know what is the difference between authentication and authorization?
Yes. So authentication is when, for example, user in password. If
Mm-hmm.
a user can like have permission to log or something, authorized to that application, but authentication is no authorization is the specific. For example, uh, let's explain. If someone has, for example, to have authentication to open the door in his
Mm-hmm.
home,
Mm-hmm.
authorization means using the some stuff inside the house. Like the authentication is when someone is like have a key to open the door. The
Mm-hmm.
authorization is have permission to use inside the house. So the same like authentication is he has a have a permission to log in or this application. But when you come to
Mm-hmm.
authorization, he has the right to use inside the uh, application. He can
Mm-hmm.
have the right permission.
Yes, absolutely correct. Let's say you want to go to your own company, right? You are working for
Mm-hmm.
some organization, right? You have that ID card, right?
Mm-hmm.
You whenever you go in inside the company on the gate to the guard, you always show that this is your ID. By that he allows you to go inside, right? So this is
Mm-hmm.
authentication. And
Mm-hmm.
now you can go to the IT department. For that, you need to check your card, right? You need to mark your
Mm-hmm.
card, right? So that
Correct.
is authorization, that you are authorized to go inside the IT department. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
is authorization always comes when one application wants to use the resources of another application.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let me explain you with this diagram. You are having two applications. Okay. Let's say one is your Facebook. Okay. And one is something related to the job.
Okay.
Okay. Let's say not Facebook, LinkedIn. LinkedIn is easy. Okay.
Okay.
So whenever you create the account for this job related application, in job related application you want to create one account, your own account, it always
Mm-hmm.
says that let's log in through your LinkedIn,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Correct.
Let's log in through your LinkedIn means I want to use the resources that are available in the LinkedIn about you. Okay. Let me get all the information from the LinkedIn about you, that your name, your email ID, your phone number, everything I can get from the LinkedIn. Why to enter that again and again? So let me get that. You just need to provide the authentication, that is LinkedIn, that username and password, and then you're able to get one account based on your LinkedIn profile.
Okay.
Correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Behind the scenes, it always used Auth 2.0. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But since it, so this is the use of Auth 2.0, example of Auth 2.0. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there are so many workflows inside Auth 2.0. Authorization code flow is there, your implicit password is there, client ID secret is there. So there
Mm-hmm.
are multiple ways to implement the auth. So this is mainly used for client identification. Okay. Client management. Okay. So this is auth. Next is JWT validation. You know what is JWT?
Jason, which one? JW2, yeah. Uh, the same that's for, that's also the tokenization, but specifically for the JSON part.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's not
So
using
as you,
for any
Mhm.
application.
Yes. So as I told you here, we will be using auth 2 in that. Okay. In auth 2, what we have? We have tokens, right? So
Yes, yes.
token can be of type JWT. Okay. So JSON
Mm-hmm.
web token. JSON web token is always having three parts. You know what are those three parts?
Mm. Give me one, and I can remember the rest.
Header, payload. Try to
Oh,
remember
yes.
that.
Right, right,
Yep.
yes. Right.
Okay. So let's see that here then. JWT.io. Okay. Okay. So the first part, it is having three parts. First part, then dot, then second part, then dot, and then third part. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So the first one is your base 64 encoded of your header.
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you with the proof. Okay. Base 64 decoder. Okay. So I just copied this first part from here and I just pasted it out. This is for base 64 decoding. I just decoded it and see, I got this thing. I'll go HS256 and type JWT. This is the
Mm-hmm.
thing, right? So the first part is base 64 encoded header. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, the second part is always your base 64 encoded payload.
Okay.
Okay. And the third part is the combination of three things. First thing is your base 64 encoded header dot base 64 encoded payload, and this is these both thing will be encrypted by your key, your secret. Okay.
Okay.
And then it will be encrypted by your key with this algorithm.
Okay.
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 So this is
Mm-hmm.
the algorithm. This is the third part. This one. How we
Mm-hmm.
are getting this algorithm? From here. We are selecting this algorithm. Clear? So whatever algorithm we provide in the algo in the header part is being used here. Clear?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So this is JWT, JSON Web Token. Okay, this is the type of the token that customers mainly use for authentication. Okay, these are
Okay.
mainly used for authentication, not for authorization. Okay,
Okay. Okay. Yep.
okay. Let's move back to our policies. So second was JWT. Third one is tokenization. Okay, tokenization is like when you are encrypting your data that you are getting with some digits or with some characters, right? That is called tokenization. Okay, so you are
Mm-hmm.
creating something like a token by your existing data. Okay, but this can only be used in your RTF, not on the cloud hub. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So here it says that I can open this one and I can see that this policy name is tokenization transforms the sensitive data into the non-sensitive equivalent and named token.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this is for the security purpose. Okay, it always returns either 400 502 for error handling and all. Okay, in case the token is invalid and all. And in the summary it is defined that tokenization is the process of masking of a value or a piece of information that can be considered as a sensitive data into the token. Okay,
Okay.
and it can also be mapped back to the original value by using the detokenization concept. Okay,
Okay.
and it is mentioned that this policy is designed to work only for any point runtime fabric deployment. That means this tokenization and detokenization are only for your RTF. Okay, and this is very 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 important topic because you may get some question related to the tokenization. You may get some condition where you need to identify where your tokenization can be used. So you need to see that if the RTF is there in the option, then go for that always.
Okay.
Clear?
Okay. Clear. Yep.
So next one is basic authentication. Basic authentication is very simple. Like you need to provide the username and you need to provide the password.
Awesome.
That's it. Okay.
Okay.
Next is your and you will get this from the authorization token. Okay. So whenever you send the request, okay, let me help you out with this. So here, let's say you have this request in the authorization, you can go, you can select your basic authentication. Okay. Whenever you send some username and password, let's say you select this username and you set this password. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever the request will be sent to the endpoint, it will be sent like this. In the headers, you will get this authorization header and it will be having base 64, this one basic authorization. This is base 64 of your secret and password. Let me show you. This is my username and password.
Okay.
So let me show you here as well. Let me decode this. Okay, so I'm going to decode this. You can see my username is there, my password is here. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
separated by colon. So in case you want to see what is username and password whenever you are getting any request, okay, what you can do, you can just directly copy paste this whatever basic thing you are getting, this one. Okay, and you can decode it using base 64 decoder. You will able
Okay.
to see the username and password. Yeah.
Okay. Clear.
So
Yep.
this is related to the basic authentication. Okay.
I have
The
one
next
question.
one
Can you
is
go to
yes,
Postman?
yes.
Yeah. Every time. Okay. Postman.
Postman. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Postman. So go to the authorization.
Okay.
Mm. Go to down list. Let me see. Basic
Okay.
authorization.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So uh, I use most of these sometimes, but for
Mm-hmm.
example, the okay for there is a bearer token authorization in the one you are So like this all tokenization, why we
Hmm.
going to like separately. So all are if it is like tokenization, why we like separate like this?
Bearer token.
No, for example, what is for authentication per, yeah?
Hmm.
What
Okay,
2.0?
okay. Let me tell you. So if you select auth, okay, so you need to
Uh-huh.
provide everything like from where you are going to get the token, your auth URLs, and everything you have to provide. Based on that, you can get the token. You can get the access token. Just a second. Hmm, sorry. So if I want to get the access token, I can go through here and then I will be able to get my token. So this is auth where you are providing, where you need to do the configuration. Okay, by this you got the access token. Okay, now you can send this access token
Mm.
as a bearer token. Okay, so let's say customer have provided you one token that is a non-expiring one, or let's say that will expire in a year. Okay, then you will not be creating token every time again and again, right? You will be
Yeah,
using that token only, right? So what you
right.
can do, you can select just the bearer token and you can provide that token. That's it. You don't need to worry about anything. Okay, but if you are
Okay.
going to select auth 2.0, that means you need to extract the access token, then go through that
Mhm.
token. Okay, by this thing also you are getting the token so that you will be able to access the APIs, right? So these are different types of securities, you can say. So auth token could be there, some bearer token could be there. So bearer token sometimes is equals to your access token only. But for access token, you are again and again generating that. Okay. But for bearer token, what you can do, you can generate it once and you can use it multiple times. That's it.
That's the difference. Okay, okay,
Yeah, you can say that.
okay, okay.
Okay. So let's go back where we were here. Yes. So next is JSON thread protection. So what is JSON thread protection according to you?
Uh, for example, we are trying to decrypt our JSON to protect
Hmm.
from. We are just protecting our JSON, the payload, for example, JSON thread protection means we are trying to trade from. It might be the virus or whatever. So
Hmm.
we are protecting this JSON.
Hmm. Okay. So let's say there is one API that app one, okay, only accepts JSON data. Okay,
Okay.
and you have defined that the nesting will be like there will be one main object. Okay, inside that object you may get two more objects. So you provided the nesting stuff. Okay, so that is A, and let's say this is B, and you said that this much of attributes will be there. This just you provided the schema. Okay,
Uh-huh.
and you got the request which is of like which is a very huge file of JSON. Okay, very huge JSON. Let's
Mhm.
say 2 GB of JSON data is being sent, which was having so many nestings. Okay, So here you have provided that my schema should look like this. But now you got the data which is having so much nesting and all. So that will be rejected from here only. So this is called JSON thread protection. Otherwise, this may get into your code and this may get failed and this may get every APIs to work differently, or you can say this may corrupt your API, or this may make the system down because the data was too huge, right? Your worker cannot accept this 2 GB of data. They cannot handle that. Okay, everything can go down. Your server can go down at that time, right? So to
Okay.
protect that thing, we just provide this thing for the JSON thread protection. Let's try it out. Okay, so here you are defining how your data will look like, how many maximum arrays can be there, how many maximum objects can be there. Okay, what maximum object entry name length. Okay, what will be the string length. You are providing some security basically related to the JSON that you will be getting. Validation. So these are the validations basically. If those validations will be cleared, then only your JSON data will be transferred to your API. Clear?
Okay.
So this is
Mm-hmm.
the security that you are providing by JSON thread protection.
Okay.
Similarly, we have it for uh, sorry. Similarly, we will be having it for XML thread protection. Okay, so if you are
Mm-hmm.
having XML, if you want to secure that XML, not securing it, like we are providing some validations that my XML should have 3 times of nesting, more than that will not be accepted, and every element should have this much of length, not more than that. That you can provide it here. Clear?
Okay.
So these are the validation, not we are not encrypting anything. We are just providing the values and we are validating the incoming data based on that. Clear?
So okay, for example, XML thread protection. For example, our application receive 1 GB or something the payload.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
we if it is more than that, so
Hmm.
it's going to reject. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. I got it. Yeah. Yes. You're right.
And let's say I said that it will be having 3 objects only. Okay. And I got 4 objects from the request.
Mhm.
That will also get rejected because I'm validating based on 3 objects.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it.
Hmm. Yep. Next one is basic authentication LDAP. Okay, so it will be similar to your basic authentication, but it will be having a LDAP server. Okay, that means you need to configure the LDAP server information here. Okay, so it will be like, let's say, for explaining you in the layman terms. Okay, so it will
Mhm.
be like you are having one file on the server, customer server. Okay,
Mhm.
which is having all the username passwords.
Mhm.
10 more minutes. 10 more minutes. Okay. Which is having all those passwords, username and passwords, which are allowed. Okay.
Mhm.
So based on that, if the customer will send that basic authentication, some username password in the request, so what our server will do, that will go to that LDAP server and search that username password is allowed or not. Okay,
Okay.
rather than fixing it here in the policy, because in
Okay.
basic authentication what we do, we are having only one username and password that we define here, right?
Mhm.
So in LDAP, they will be having the own server, LDAP server, where they are having all the
Separate server,
username
yeah.
password.
Sorry, like
Yes,
separate
yes,
server to
LDAP.
only control like this username and password. This yeah.
Yes,
Uh, I
yes.
understand.
Next is IP allow list. IP allow list and IP blacklist. I think you are already aware of this.
So IP allow list means whatever this we have given permission
Hmm.
or allowed to use our application like these IPs. And IP block means yeah, it's mentioned like we are denying all for these IPs address to use.
Okay. Yes. So IP allow list, that means you are providing some IPs that are allowed to request your API, right?
Correct.
So
Yeah.
if
Mm-hmm.
any request from another IP will come, that will get rejected from here only. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, we have IP block list as well. That means you are providing the IPs which are not allowed to use your APIs. Okay.
Right. Right.
Next is HTTP caching. Okay. Let's say if you are having an options call, you remember options call?
Option code.
Yeah, I told you that we are having some methods like HTTP methods. Which all HTTP methods are there? Get, post,
Get.
put,
Uh-huh.
patch, options, head, right?
Mhm.
So options was also there. What options is does?
Options.
Mhm. You forgot?
Mm,
Options will tell you whenever you will send the options call. Whenever you select for options here, see options is there, right? Whenever you select this options and you hit the end point, it will send you all the allowed method list. Okay, it will tell you that in the endpoint you can send post method, you can send the request for get method, like that. Okay,
uh-huh.
so this will not going to change, right? This will not going to change again and again. In the endpoint, if the post method and get method is allowed, this will remain same, right, for long time.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting it or
I
not?
don't think this we didn't explain last time. I don't know. I can't
Okay.
remember.
So,
But
okay. So if you send this option call to the endpoint, okay.
okay.
So in the response, what you will get, it will say get, comma, post. That
Oh,
means you can send either get request, either post request to the endpoint. All other methods like put, patch is not allowed. Okay. Only get and post is allowed in the endpoint. This is called options method. Okay.
mm-hmm.
And in the endpoint, if the get and post is allowed, that will not going to change again and again, right? Every time you
Mm-hmm.
will be getting the same response.
Okay. So, can you give me one example? I have a little
Okay.
confusing.
Let's say I have created one API, that RAML file. Okay.
Okay.
In the RAML file, I have created one orders endpoint. Okay. In the
Okay.
orders endpoint, I have given one get method and one post method.
Okay.
Okay. And one options method is also there.
Okay.
Okay. If a user, let's say you will come and you will try to hit the option method.
Okay.
Okay. Option and the endpoint is slash orders, right?
Okay.
Then in the response, it will give get, post,
Oh,
options. That means the allowed list of methods. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That means you will get to know, you can send either get request, you can either send post request, you can either send options request. That's the only thing. You cannot send put request to the endpoint, right?
Sure. So we only see which method is allowed by using
Yes,
this option.
by
Oh,
using
okay.
options, right?
Okay.
So if you send the request again after 15 minutes to this
Mm-hmm.
options call, this, what you will get in the response?
The same.
Same, right? After 2 days also you will be getting same response, right?
Mm-hmm.
But let's
Yeah.
say I added one put method also here. Now this
Mm-hmm.
got changed. This should be having put also in the response, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
But you can see that for the long period of time, you were getting the same response,
Mm-hmm.
right? That means you can use caching for that, for giving the response. Why? To hit the endpoint again and again. Whenever someone is sending the options call, let's get it from the endpoint first, okay, and then store it in the cache. And
Okay.
let's say for 15 minutes, give the same response,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Right. Right. Mm-hmm.
So, this is the use case for your caching. And you can use caching for storing the token as well. There are other use cases as well. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Where we were here. So, this is related to the caching. Next is rate limiting SLA based. You know
Mm-hmm.
what is the difference between rate limiting and spike control?
Okay. For rate limiting is how many per second our application we can hit. We can
Mm-hmm.
put the maximum.
Yes.
Uh, for example, like we can give a name like the silver is 1000. For example,
Hmm.
we
Yes.
subscribe gold or whatever by
Mm-hmm.
limiting our, yes. So the spike control is like is it looks the same, but they have like based on our the traffic limiting our
Mm-hmm.
API call.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
For
So
yeah.
let me tell you the difference first. These three are little bit similar, right?
Mm-hmm.
First is your sorry, not this one. First is your rate limiting.
Mm-hmm.
In your oh, I was writing rate limiting.
Yeah.
Rate limiting. Okay. So in your rate limiting, what you are doing? You are providing that in 10 minutes, let's say my 100 requests or 1000 requests are allowed, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you are defining the time and the number of requests which are allowed,
Mm-hmm.
right? So after this 1000 requests in the 10 minutes, okay, 1001 request will be rejected. Okay, if more
Okay.
than 1000 requests will come in 10 minutes, then those will be rejected. Clear?
Okay.
So this is rate limiting. Next is your rate limiting with SLA.
Mm-hmm.
Rate limiting with SLA. So here, let's say your API was used by multiple partners, right? So it was used by your PVR, it was used by your Paytm. Everyone is using this API.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say this one, the first one, okay, they were facing some issue. That's why by mistake they sent 2000 requests
Okay.
in 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what about this one, another user? He will not be able to send the request. He will always get this that the
Right.
rate limiting is exceeded. right? The quota got
Yeah. Yeah.
exceeded. He will always get 429 in the response. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
429 is the status code for quota got exceeded. Okay,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
so he will always get that. Then how to overcome this? So with the SLA, what we can do, we can do rate limiting different for PVR
Mm-hmm.
and rate limiting for Paytm. Okay,
Okay.
so now he can also send 1,000 requests in 10 minutes, and he can also send 1,000 requests in 10 minutes. If he sent 2,000 requests, then only PVR will get quota exceeded, that is 429 issue. He will not get the issue. Okay, clear?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
Yep.
this is called rate limiting with SLA. Now comes spike control. So what is spike control? In spike control also we defined, let's say, 1,000 requests in 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That means after 1,000 requests, let's say 1,001 request came, that will not rejected. Okay, that will added in the queue.
You. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, that will be added in a queue and that will be sent for the processing. But let's say the customer sent 3,000 requests in a minute that are not even handled by the server. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that means the queue is also full at that time. The maximum limit of queue is also full. Then also he will get 429. Clear?
The customer, okay, that's my question. For example, in the rate limiting, so when you
Hmm.
are hitting, if it's exceeded 10,000, we saw
Hmm.
429. So, but the same like in spy control, the 429, but it's put in the queue. And when he,
Uh,
for example, if he
okay.
retry again
Mhm.
next time, what is
Mhm.
that?
Yes, no, no, no. It's not like that. In the rate limiting, it will reject your request. That is rejected now, right? But in the spike control, it will just slow down your response. Okay, it will wait for some time. You will get the response bit late. Okay, because it is there in the queue for the processing. Okay, but let's say from the queue also, like the queue is full at that time, the server is not going to handle those much of requests, then only you will get 429, then only your request will get rejected. Otherwise the request will just slow down, that's it. Okay,
Okay, let me
it
give
will
you
not
one
get
example.
rejected.
In my understanding. So in spy control, for example,
Hmm.
you say the maximum is 10,000 requests per 10 minutes. So if a
Hmm.
customer is like 1,500, for example,
Hmm. Hmm.
so 500 is put in the queue, yeah?
Yes.
So time, what like the customer is like getting 429 or just to see waiting the
Just waiting.
request.
Customer will not see anything. He will be like waiting for the response. Okay. In the 10 minutes only, he will get the response. Because in the 10
Uh,
minutes, after 10 minutes, that request will be configured, right? That request will be uh, accepted, and then only it will give the response. So the response time here, like if whenever you make a hit, right? Uh,
mhm.
Let me show you here. In the response you always get this thing. Here, see, here you can see the time was 2.9 seconds, right? So
Mhm.
here, if they are having spike control, the customer if sends more than 1,000 requests, then this time will be more than 10 minutes. Okay,
Okay, okay.
but the request will not get rejected. Okay, it will be like that.
It process after
But
waiting. Yeah, okay.
but
Yeah.
but if the time is 10 minutes, that means server will not be able to hold the request for the 10 minutes, right? Sometimes you are having timeout for the less time, right? In that
Then
case,
okay.
you may get 429. Your request will get rejected. Okay?
Yeah, but like spy control is using queue for putting like I'm assuming before. So when you
Mm-hmm.
are if it is like 1,000, 2,000, for example,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
request. So we are putting like 10,000 in the queue, and
Mm-hmm.
when the time is for example, we are limiting 10 minutes. Yeah, one
Mm-hmm.
10 minutes finished, the
Mm-hmm.
other 1,000 starting again.
Yes.
The
Yes.
second thing.
So
Uh,
yes. So it will not give you error. It will process that, but your response time will be very late. Like you need to wait for that response. You are not getting any error. Your request is
uh,
not getting rejected, but you have to wait to for your request to get fulfilled.
uh,
Clear?
Clear. Okay, so that's why I confuse. You put 429 means when the queue is full. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. That.
So queue is full means your server is not being able to handle this much of request, or let's say there is some other issues, then you will be getting 429 in that case.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Okay. So this is regarding these quality of services. Okay, related to the compliance and transformation and troubleshooting, we will cover in the next class. Yeah.
Okay. 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 Mm.
Okay, so you want me to provide you anything, data, anything? Like I cannot share that PDF with you because that is my personal one. That is the MuleSoft one. I cannot share that. Okay, but
Okay.
these things that the points we are covering, I can share this stuff with you.
Yeah. 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 So if you share me, that's good because I can uh, follow this and I can review. Uh,
Yes, yes. And I want you also to maintain these points at your end. So, whenever I teach you any topic, I want you to write that out, the topic name. Okay. Because sometimes I go for the explanation, I forgot to write it here. Okay. So, if you are making some notes in your notebook or if you are making some notes in your notepad, then just write the topic name because that is very important. Okay. And the best
okay.
part is you can maintain one document. Okay, so you can take the snapshot or you can take the you can copy these points and you can paste that on your document.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. Yep.
Right. I will do that. I
But
just
I
focus
want
on.
you to don't take any snapshot of that document that I'm sharing with you, right?
No. I
That
just.
one with the MuleSoft one.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. So we can wrap up the today's session, and we can have the others one later on. And I will try to improve my speed. Okay, because
Okay.
we are still on the module second, but I'm trying to resolve each inquiry of yours, and I want your concepts to be clear. That's the most important thing for me, because certification is another thing, but clearing
Right.
concepts is most important part,
Right. Correct.
right?
Yeah.